Good evening. I'm your host, Karen Hudes, in this series on the network of global corporate control. Today's segment is pre-recorded and is about consciousness, thanks to DCTV, to Carmen Stanley, studio producer and director, Maurice Jackson, audio and teleprompter. This is a sequel to the segment on November 3rd, 2015, about the French philosopher René Descartes, who said, "I think, therefore I am." Let's start off with a short film about starlings flying. This is called Murmuration. How are the starlings able to keep track of each other? Buddhism emphasizes the universal nature of the conscious mind. Philosophy, too, as espoused by Plato and Spinoza and Schopenhauer, considers that psyche, consciousness, is everywhere. What if humankind is all interconnected and we actually share a collective unconscious, as Carl Jung has said? Some neuroscientists studying complex systems are looking into the scientific basis for consciousness. If all of humanity forms one complex thought processing system, and we all have a common consciousness, then we need to revisit what it means when a critical mass share a common vision of reality. That would explain the 100th monkey effect that we discussed. As soon as I learned in February that the Italian documentary had been published on YouTube, I posted the link. I had been in touch with the producers about becoming the American distributor for the film, that's 100 Monkeys in Italian, but the producers didn't follow up. What is the 100th monkey effect? When you reach critical mass, this manifests in reality. In the 1950s, scientists began a study with Japanese snow monkeys that spanned about 2 decades. The snow monkeys of Japan were studied by scientists, actually it was 3 decades, not 2, on the island of Cosima. Beginning in 1952, scientists began to drop sweet potatoes in the sand. The monkeys liked the sweet potatoes, but they didn't care for the unpleasant taste of the sand. That was until a 19-month-old female found that she could solve the problem by washing the sand off in the salty ocean water, improving the taste of the potato. She then taught this trick to her mother, and soon after her playmates learned of this, who in turn taught it to their mothers as well. This cultural innovation was gradually picked up by numerous monkeys on the island. Between 1952 and 1958, the younger monkeys would figure out this technique and would teach it to their elders. The adults who did this with their children themselves learned this cultural improvement. However, some older adults didn't learn right away. And here's where it starts to get interesting. In the autumn of 1958, something startling took place. A massive increase of snow monkeys began washing their sweet potatoes. The exact number wasn't known. However, the hypothetical number given was 99 as to when the 100th monkey learned how to wash their sweet potatoes. A critical mass of innovation accrued. This added energy of the 100th monkey somehow created a conscious break to where almost everyone in the troupe was washing their sweet potatoes. Here is the really interesting part. Something even crazier that the scientists weren't expecting to happen accrued. The cultural innovations jumped across the sea. The monkeys across the other islands started washing their potatoes in the ocean as well, and in great number, almost as if it was understood on a higher level of consciousness. This experiment brings to light the idea of a collective consciousness, where, as if it's only a few number of individuals that know a new idea or way of life, then it remains the conscious property of those individuals. But at the critical mass of the 100th individual, the awareness becomes the conscious property of all. What happens when we apply this understanding of collective consciousness to the global debt facility? It means that we are in the global currency reset to exchange the world's paper currencies issued by the banking cartel for humanity's monetary gold reserves and for currencies issued by local villages and towns. Now I'm going to talk about widely shared posts in my social media. The banking cartel keeps on trying to steal the world's gold. I'm going to show you an attempt on June 19th in which I gave the history of how Ferdinand Marcos refused the offer of the Trilateral Commission. If there's time, I'll describe the overthrow of Ferdinand Marcos by the CIA during the EDSA revolution. And then one of the very popular posts was Betsy Malone's blog about Emperor Akihito's abdication. And what I said in that, I'm dividing our listeners into two groups, those who have watched us before and the newbies. And it was taken from a DCTV broadcast, following up on the segment about the U.S. military in 2017 in February, where we learned that the group of humanity which knows about the cover-up of corruption in our money has reached critical mass. And now we have a coalition for the rule of law. The critical mass has caused unprecedented changes. For instance, the abdication of Emperor Akihito, and this news story was given by ABC News. And in that story, they suggested that the reason was because of health reasons, because Emperor Akihito is now 82 years old. But we actually believe that it's because of some of the communications that I've sent to Emperor Akihito about the global debt facility. The Coalition for the Rule of Law is more powerful than the banking cartel, and it has been commenting in my social media and raising questions when I upload the archives of the DCTV series on YouTube. And also, they've made comments elsewhere on the internet, for example, on Facebook. And they've commented when YouTube has refused to take their comments. Early segments on gold, the military, and secret societies were not archived on YouTube because YouTube didn't want to do that. I contacted Emperor Akihito on behalf of his people and on behalf of the Joint U.S.-Japan Committee under the Status of Forces. And I tweeted at the time. This was dated on the 19th of June, 2016. Reference, letter to His Excellency Taro Aso and His Excellency Kenichiro Sasei. And I also sent copies to Japan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And I copied the U.S. Defense Attaché. As the Overseer Mandate Trustee of the Global Debt Facility containing the monetary gold reserves of Japan and the United States, I am inviting Japan to join me in viewing the Global Debt Facility's accounts on Euroclear. The good people of Japan and the good people of the United States of America are offsetting that scam called country debt against the Treaty of Versailles bonds, now worth $2 quadrillion, that are held in the Global Debt Facility. And then I signed that as acting general counsel for the World Bank and overseer mandate trustee. And also on the 18th of June, subject letter to His Excellency Taro Aso and His Excellency Kenichiro Sase. And I copied David Tong and also Mr. Fujita, who's in the Japan's higher house of parliament. We met in Tokyo in 2014. I sent the attached letter to His Excellency Taro Aso and His Excellency Kenichiro Sase, inviting Japan to accompany me to see the accounts of the global debt facility and to begin the global currency reset. The global debt facility is going to be printing United States Treasury dollars that will be exchanged for Federal Reserve notes. The United States is in interregnum. Mr. David Tong, chairperson of the International Trade Council in Singapore, sent me the letter at the end of this email. And then I also signed it, the letter. And this is the email that I sent to also to Taro Aso, and I copied David Tong. This is the letter which I mailed to the embassy on June 6, 2016. As overseer mandate trustee of the Global Debt Facility that is administered by the Board of Governors of the World Bank and IMF, I am going to review the accounts on Euroclear. You will note from the correspondence that David Tong, chairperson of the International Trade Council in Singapore, is copied. I have invited the other 6 executive directors who are also authorized to access the black screens to accompany me. I would appreciate your acknowledging receipt of this email. And then there's an email from David Tong. Subject, Global Debt Facility. Hi, Ms. Hudes. I'm captivated listening to you on YouTube concerning the global debt facility. You're completely selfless and are working in the interest of mankind. It appears to me that many people may not like what you're doing, and these people are very powerful. I will continue to watch your work. With our best wishes, and kindly take care. Best regards, David Tong, Chairperson, ITC, Singapore. And then on June 19th, I wrote, the banking cartel is working overtime to try and shape your perception of reality. I've already called out YouTube for hiding the most important of my responses behind View All Comments buttons, and using sock puppets and other agents of the banking cartel to ask loaded questions. I went back to review the comments pages, and YouTube, which is owned by Google, and Google is part of the banking cartel, didn't seem to mind that its shenanigans were on view. They have kept at it. Also, they're recommending banking cartel propaganda to the people who view the DCTV archives on my channel. YouTube is hiding my replies behind View All Replies buttons. The replies that YouTube is hiding are on my tweet, which is also reproduced on the teleprompter. Richie Allen refused to allow me to talk about the global debt facility, and I exposed him in a tweet. And then there was a comment from somebody called Big Kahuna. And I said, I've been reviewing some of the previous questions that you raised on this channel. You raise very central questions, but you do it in a way that follows other shills. Is this an accident? I'm watching you. Of course, your question is important. We will keep this problem in mind. We have no choice but to embark on a currency reset, or we will be in World War III for sure with 95% likelihood. The other dead giveaway that you, Kahuna, is a shill, is that your questions are kept up while YouTube hides the other, more central answers behind View All Replies buttons. And Paul Jenkinson had asked a question, and we'll see if I've got that earlier in the teleprompter. Recently, you're hurting more than you're helping. Is this an accident? Humanity is going to be challenged during the global currency reset. We've been learning as we go along, and nobody said that things were going to be easy. We have no choice. It's the global currency reset or it's World War III. That has been made clear to us by the power transition model. However, our chances for meeting this challenge are above 90%. The fact that we're still in the game is a clear sign that we're doing things right. Okay, if you can stop the teleprompter, I'll tell you what my recollection was about Paul Jenkinson's question. He said, we will have to do things that everybody wants, or we won't be able to evolve. And of course, that's not necessarily the case. And one of the other things that Paul Jenkinson said was that we don't really have a system for keeping people under control if we don't have a banking cartel. And that is absolutely not the case. What we have is we have the framework of the Bretton Woods institutions, and we're going to manage very well, I think, during the global currency reset, because people are actually civilized, and we don't need bogus governments that are actually, they're corrupt. They're really the banking cartel. That's what all of our governments are. Okay. Now let me continue with the teleprompter. One person asked, will cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin be a part of the new monetary system? And my response, no. Sock puppets keep on posting about cryptocurrencies. This is a dead giveaway that the banking cartel is trying to take over the global currency reset using cryptocurrencies. I've been consistent in saying that the banking cartel is not derailing the global currency reset by using cryptocurrencies. The man who held the patent on the blockchain tried very hard to steal humanity's wealth. Here is where the banking cartel is trying to confuse people about cryptocurrencies. And then I've given you a link. And then there's a comment, sitting on cryptocurrencies would help us, or sitting on gold would help us. We need to use it for the benefit of mankind, especially Filipinos who have long suffered. And there's a fellow named Sini Lasco who is asking people to visit a website and a Facebook page of Omega World Marshall Development Program. And I've said no, they should realize that these people are crooks. They're really the banking cartel trying to steal the world's wealth. And I said to that person who posted it, the very next time you comment on my channel, I'm blocking you. I've already tweeted a response showing that Alpha Omega World Marshall Development Program is an attempt to steal the world's assets. The banking cartel has lost its control, and humanity is now getting organized to liquidate the network of global corporate control. I'm in constant communication with the banking cartel through its agents, who usually pose as people trying to help me. Most of the people who are really trying to help me contact me indirectly. For example, the hacker in the United States military who made sure that my July 3rd, 2016 tweet was on my computer screen when I booted up. So I tweeted that comment, which was from July 3, 2016. And the comment said, you can assure your friend Karen that the defense forces of our country remain loyal to the United States Constitution and the citizens of our country. That is reality, and that is what is backing the global currency reset, along with Japan and Germany, who will not let their treaties of defense with the United States fail. There is no easy target for the banking cartel. Humanity is one. The banking cartel broke the link, and I reset it. This is only to confirm to skeptics that the banking cartel really exists, and so does the Coalition for the Rule of Law. There is less than 10% likelihood that the banking cartel can hold on to its grip, and this likelihood is receding with each day. People understand this reality and have confirmed it by their retweets. Some of the elites are getting nervous. They see the banking cartel is on the chopping block, and they're trying now, on their own, to see what they can salvage. The point is, all of humanity is involved, down to every last person. We're all in this together, and we're all working on this global currency reset together. Anybody who thinks they're entitled to special treatment, well, that's what I said to a person claiming that they're entitled to the Koh-i-Noor diamond. And there's also a question from a guy named Mike Avalip. And he said, how is all this issue going to benefit to the common people? I mean the ones like me who live one day at a time. Thanks for your great job. And what I said, you will live in a kinder world where you're not working for 4 months out of the year for the banking cartel. That's for starters. And according to Facebook, there was a post which was the most popular. About a commercial lien against officers in the government on the 21st of June. Wayne Smith. Dear Wayne, yes, there are many unscrupulous people working for the corrupt court system. There are different people who claim to have some experience with using common law in the administrative corrupt maritime courts that are masquerading as federal courts here in the United States. But most so-called experts probably don't know any more than you do, and the corruption is so rampant that hardly anything ever works. Also, these people usually are quite expensive. I ended up losing a lot of money trying to pay one of these scammers, who then turned around and tried to steal the world's gold. I understand that some of the Florida state courts are supposed to be courts of equity. My advice is to keep your records straight until the day that we start making more progress in the global currency reset, and then put your papers in front of a jury. I'll be happy to put your information on my social media in the event that someone is ready to assist you. And I believe the letter from Wayne is in the teleprompter, which I'll read you. And I put a postscript. I want to remind you of my post 2 years ago, as well as my comment on September 12th, 2016. At the end of my tweet was an update on progress in the global currency reset and another postscript. I edited out the part of his letter referring to the fact where he claimed to be a sovereign. This is because I'm not about to give anyone an excuse to put me on a terrorist list. I don't claim to be a sovereign citizen. This is an oxymoron. An oxymoron is a contradiction. Okay, here's the letter from Wayne Smith, dated the 21st of June. Subject, simple question, hope not to be a bother. Good day, my name is Wayne Smith. I'm not a professional attorney or a well-financed individual. I've attempted to file a commercial lien against officers in the government that violated their oaths of office and their sacred trust. I'm currently under house arrest with a bracelet on my ankle awaiting trial. I just wanted to reach out to you as an attorney for your opinion. I have filed documents to the court. Federal District Court, Middle District of Florida, but to no avail. They have ridiculed my filings and added violations to my case. They charged me with 18 U.S. Code 1521, which in and of itself is inapplicable to me since it was meant for government workers. My question is, what can I use in law to get the court to acknowledge my filings and apply law instead of color of law? How can I force a change of venue to a court of equity? And if anyone wants to help Wayne, please contact me and I'll pass your contact information to Wayne. And YouTube censored my responses to comments about the likelihood of the global currency reset and asking why Major General Michael Carey and Vice Admiral Tim Giardina haven't held a press conference about detonating a live nuclear device off the coast of Charleston on October 7, 2013, instead of on Charleston. The power transition model and the proof of the existence of the global currency reset and the global debt facility, and the likelihood that the Board of Governors of the World Bank and International Monetary Fund are going to implement the global currency reset. The people retweeting it said, Karen Hudes' latest update's a banger. Is it smart to simply project the past onto the future or to estimate new political forces? Today's segment is about the way that the Coalition for the Rule of Law on the Board of Governors of the World Bank and IMF, together with the people living in these nations, have been trying to overcome each of the obstacles and agents that have tried to interfere with the global currency reset. Rest assured that I'm getting a lot of help, or we would never have made it this far. I believe that we have reached critical mass and the point of no return. If you think we shall overcome, you're very right indeed. I want to thank you for listening to another segment of the Network of Global Corporate Control. We've been talking about consciousness and the fact that all of humanity is actually just one. We are now head-to-head with the banking cartel. Stay tuned and we'll see how this turns out.